Prime Minister calls for full implementation of CSME, urges CARICOM to put crime on the agenda, and signs on to Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Pact. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Prime Minister Andrew Holness had a packed agenda this past week. He represented Jamaica's interests at the 38th regular meeting of the Conference of the Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM. That meeting was held over 3 days in Grenada. Meanwhile, at the opening ceremony, the Prime Minister congratulated Jamaica's Shirley Price, who was named CARICOM Woman of the Year. Price, a domestic workers' rights advocate, was conferred with a 12th Triennial Award for Women. At the first plenary session of the 38th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, Prime Minister Andrew Holness urged his regional counterparts to fast-track the implementation of the Caribbean Single Market and Economy, CSME. The CSME is billed as the vehicle through which the full integration of the regional body will be realized, as it will see to the free movement of people and trade. But according to Mr. Holness, the process has been lagging for some years. He said though trade had been facilitated, the free movement of skilled labor was still an issue that needed to be addressed with haste.
More work needs to be done by leaders to ensure that we truly have an integrated single market where goods and services, people and capital can move freely. So it is not that we think CARICOM is not important. We think it is so important that we would want it to function as it was envisioned to function. And which is why, instead of taking an isolationist approach, we have taken a strategic approach, which is to test exactly what is it that people feel, what is it that they have as their views and suggestions.
To that end, Prime Minister Holness shared that the report by Jamaica's CARICOM Review Commission would soon be ready for Parliament, after which the regional heads would have access to it. Following a call by Prime Minister Holness, crime will now be an agenda item for CARICOM meetings. Mr. Holness made the call during a plenary session, pointing out that a collective effort was needed to tackle crime as it affects all facets of life.
I think that if our governments were to pool our collective resources in terms of analyzing the problem, looking at the epidemiology of the problem, that we may be able to put in place synergistic solutions that could attenuate, if not bring a resolution to these problems.
Prime Minister Holness also agreed to have a report on crime for the next CARICOM intersessional meeting scheduled for Haiti in February 2018. And with Jamaica holding the chairmanship of CARICOM for the 39th regular meeting, Mr. Holness said the issue of crime will be fully discussed.
Jamaica thought it beneficial and relevant to our interest in ratifying and signing on to the agreement to establish CCRE. This is a Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency.
With the July 5 signing, Jamaica joins other small island developing states to advance efforts in addressing sustainable energy issues and solutions. Prime Minister Holness and his regional counterparts also discussed the ongoing situation in Venezuela.
We want to see a resolution. We want to see peace and prosperity for the people of the Bolivarian Republic.
And the possible fallout in aid and grants to the region from Brexit.
We take the position that we should continue with the CARIForum arrangement, as that would be the most efficient way of ensuring that there is no fallout from the United Kingdom leaving.
Delving into an issue closer to home, Prime Minister Holness examined the significant impact of non-communicable diseases (NCDs) within the region. While pledging Jamaica's support for efforts to stem the proliferation of NCDs, Mr. Holness spoke of the island's move against smoking and the consumption of sugars.
We discussed the issue of using fiscal measures, taxation, and to consider seriously the application of taxation on sweetened drinks.
The 38th regular meeting of CARICOM was also the venue for bilateral talks between Jamaica and the United States. On July 6, Mr. Holness met with Acting U.S. Deputy Secretary of State and Undersecretary for Political Affairs Thomas Shannon. The two spoke on ways to strengthen several multilateral and bilateral agreements covering trade, investment, and security. Prime Minister Andrew Holness left the 38th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting assured that the regional body was on a much firmer footing and that the leaders were in one accord, focused on making the Caribbean a place of peace, security, and prosperity. That's it for this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Join us again next time for more news out of the office of the Prime Minister.